The second tool which is used in the recombinant DNA technology is the use of cloning vectors. Vectors, you know, are the carriers, right? So over here, these cloning vectors, as the name suggests, they help in the transfer of foreign DNA into the host cell and are therefore known as the vehicles for cloning, because they carry the foreign DNA, and with the help of these vectors, the foreign DNA is transferred to the host cell where it multiplies. So they are known as cloning vectors. Now there are certain important features for a cloning vector to possess. That means a cloning vector should have following things or following points, then only it is marked as suitable vector for this particular rDNA technology. First is, it should have the origin of replication, or we call it as ORI site. Origin of replication. ORI, you know, is a sequence of nucleotides in DNA where the actual process of replication begins. So it is initiated over here. Any piece of alien DNA, any piece of foreign DNA, if it is incorporated in this site, will be able to replicate or make a multiple copies. So it is cloning, and within the host cell. This sequence is also responsible for the copy number of the foreign DNA inserted into the host cell. So this cloning vector should have an ORI site. The second important feature is the use, that is, it should have selectable marker. What is meant by selectable marker? A marker is a gene that identifies the selection of transformants and removal of non-transformants. So marker function is to identify the transformants and to the selectable marker. This is to identify the transformants, right, and to eliminate the non-transformants. Eliminate the non-transformants. Now, what is transformant? A transformant actually are those genes which have incorporated alien DNA into the host cell, right? So any DNA, any portion that has incorporated alien DNA into host cell, that is what is known as the transformant, whereas the other one which has not incorporated the foreign DNA will be known as non-transformants. So selectable marker help in choosing the transformants from non-transformants. Now normally when we see tetracycline, chloramphenicol, ampicillin, they are useful selectable markers for E. coli. So we have various various selectable markers such as tetracycline, ampicillin. These are good selectable markers for E. coli, and which readily help actually to identify the transformants. And it is another important reason is the E. coli cells do not carry resistance against these antibiotics. So it is easily taken up by the E. coli and can be then utilized for cloning further. Now, the other important thing is cloning site. When we say cloning site, actually the vectors must have recognition site for the endonuclease to help in linking of the foreign DNA. That is the cloning site or the recognition site. It enables the endonuclease to cut the DNA at specific points, and most of the vectors normally have unique recognition sites. When we are talking of the cloning site, it is the area where the fragments will be produced, that is again, and multiple copies can be then generated. So most of the vectors you normally have the unique recognition site for several restriction enzymes, and these recognition sites are present within very small narrow DNA fragment. That is the DNA fragment, suppose if it is DNA fragment is this long, it will have many recognition sites over here. Now for different types of restriction endonucleases. Now this is known as multiple cloning site. This is known as multiple cloning site, or in short we write it as MCS. Now the advantage of MCS and the disadvantages, both are there. The advantage is that it provides flexibility in the choice of restriction enzymes. Why? Because several restriction enzymes can function within this zone, so it provides quite a number of restriction enzymes to work on this particular area, that is the recognition site. Now the main disadvantage is that more than one restriction enzyme within this vector will produce more DNA fragments, and as a result the process of gene cloning gets complicated because many fragments will be then produced. Since it is having multiple cloning sites, this area is allowing lot of restriction enzymes to act upon it. So the advantage will be many restriction enzymes can function over here, but at the same time the disadvantage is the restriction enzymes will produce many fragments, and the process of gene replication or the gene cloning gets complicated. So that is about the multiple cloning site. Coming to the size of the vector. Now the size of the vector is also very important. A small size vector is always preferred over large size vector. The reason is large molecules are more likely to break down during the process of purification, and also the large vectors are difficult to be manipulated. Small size vectors will be having small DNA fragment or small genome. As a result, they are easy to handle and easy to manipulate. Large vectors always have a problem to manipulate, and also the chances of breaking down during the purification process also is problematic. Now when we see to the kinds of the cloning vector, normally these are the types of vectors which are used for the purpose of cloning. Now out of these four, we have plasmids, bacteriophages, cosmids and YAC, that is yeast artificial chromosome. Out of these four, the plasmids and the bacteriophages are normally used for the process of cloning or this technology. The reason is both of them can replicate within the bacterial cell and the host cell and can easily be manipulated. So the plasmids, the bacteriophages, both can infect or both can replicate within the bacterial cells. Second important point is host cells also, they can be easily develop or grow and also can easily be manipulated. Now the plasmids are actually the extra chromosomal circular double-stranded self-replicating DNA molecule other than the normal genome. So if let's talk of a bacterial cell, Then apart from its genome, which is it is having, there is a circular DNA that is extra chromosomal. It is circular. It is self-replicating DNA molecule, and it is a double-stranded DNA molecule. Few examples are, which is commonly used, is PPR322, which is extensively used for rDNA technology. Then another is PUC. This is another plasmid which is used for the, which can replicate inside the bacterial cells. Now there are some shuttle vectors. Shuttle vectors are those vectors which can function in E. coli, that is the bacterial cell, as well as in the eukaryotic cell. So there are certain kinds of shuttle vectors also. Now plasmids are preferred over bacteriophages. It is because they are bacteriophages, obviously you know that these are viruses that infect the bacteria. Now plasmids are preferred over bacteriophages because of the following reasons. That is, they are self-replicating. Also smaller in size, they are smaller in size, and they have antibiotic resistance. So it enable easy selection, and can be engineered also to have all types of useful cloning sites. So we have plasmids showing more positive response towards the recombinant DNA technology. Bacteriophages we use, such as lambda phage, M13 phage. These M13 or the lambda phage or M13 are the examples of the bacteriophages which are used for this technology. Cosmids, that is, it is obtained actually by combining the certain features of plasmid and the COS site, that is the cohesive site of the lambda phage. So we use the lambda phage and its site, that is the COS site of this and the plasmid. They are together, and then this is used for the formation of rDNA, and it can be up to 45 kb in size. Then YAC vectors are yeast artificial chromosome, and these are actually self-replicating sequences of DNA which are obtained from the yeast chromosomes. So they are used in mapping large genomes. YAC types, we have studied about the YAC and the BAC bacterial also. So these are actually obtained from the yeast and are used in mapping large genomes, such as a human genome, which is quite big. BAC is bacterial artificial chromosome. Then we have certain plant and animal viral vectors also, like the viruses which specifically infect the plants and animals are manipulated to introduce the desired foreign DNA into the plant and animal cell. For example, TMV is there, mosaic virus is there. So these are the cloning vectors which are utilized to perform or to obtain the recombinant DNA for the various advantages for the human beings. Now, when we talk of the third important point or the third tool, which is very, very important, is the host cell. The third type of the tool is the host cell. Now, a host cell, actually it is the cell or the organism where the multiplication of rDNA takes place. So what is happening? First we have cut with the help of restriction enzymes. Then we have the cloning vectors where they are transferred and they are cloned. Then they are transferred to the host cell, and within the host cell the multiplication of rDNA takes place. So the host cell helps in multiplication of rDNA. It helps in the multiplication of this DNA, and the normal host are, we are talking of yeast and the E. coli. These are common hosts which are being used. Now, the advantages of using E. coli are it is easy to culture under lab conditions because sterile conditions needs to be maintained. Then it can accept wide variety of vectors, which is very important because different vectors are being used and these vectors will be introduced into these. So they need to have wide acceptance for the vectors. So E. coli is definitely giving an advantage because it is capable of accepting various types of vectors, and it's another very important feature. Its generation time is only 20 minutes. That is, large number of cells that is having rDNA will be formed. So the rate of multiplication is very fast, and as a result we can produce a large number of rDNA. The yeast, on the other hand, are used as host for certain eukaryotic genes, and the drawback is in these cases the prokaryotes cannot be used as a host cell. So the E. coli is normally used for obtaining the R technology.